In February 2013, guests at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles began complaining. The water tasted strange. The pressure was low. Some said it looked dark. When maintenance finally checked the rooftop water tanks, they found a body, a young woman, submerged, naked, her clothes floating nearby. She had been there for nearly 3 weeks. But that's not the part that will keep you up tonight. The part that will haunt you is the elevator footage. Because what Elisa Lam did inside that elevator, in the final moments before she disappeared, has never been fully explained. Not by police, not by psychologists, not by anyone. This is Unresolved. Elisa Lam was 21 years old, a Canadian student from Vancouver studying at the University of British Columbia. By all accounts, she was bright. She loved books. She ran a Tumblr blog where she wrote about her travels, her thoughts, her favorite films. In January 2013, she boarded a plane to Los Angeles, the first stop on a solo trip down the West Coast. She planned to visit San Diego next. She was excited. She posted updates online. She seemed happy. She checked into the Cecil Hotel on January 26th. Now, the Cecil Hotel is not your average budget motel. It has a history, a dark, specific history that seems almost too on the nose for what was about to happen. The Cecil Hotel opened in 1924. Over the decades, it became known as a place where desperate people went. Serial killers Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Jack Unterweger both stayed there during their killing sprees. Multiple suicides had been reported inside its walls. Locals called it the Hotel Death. Elisa knew none of this when she checked in. Or maybe she did. We'll never know for certain. What we do know is that 4 days after she arrived, on January 31st, 2013, Elisa Lam was last seen alive, on an elevator. On February 14, 2013, 2 weeks after Elisa disappeared, the Los Angeles Police Department released a piece of security footage to the public. They were desperate. They had no leads. They hoped someone would recognize her. What they released instead broke the internet. The footage is grainy, black and white, time-stamped in the early hours of February 1st. It shows Elisa entering the elevator on one of the upper floors. She presses several buttons, rapidly, repeatedly, as if trying to get the doors to close. The doors don't close. She waits, steps out into the hallway, looks left, looks right, steps back in. Then, she begins to move in a way that is deeply, viscerally unsettling. She presses herself against the back corner of the elevator. She peers around the doorframe, slowly, as if checking whether something in the hallway is still there. Then she steps out again, and she starts talking. No one is visible. The hallway is empty, but Elisa is clearly speaking to someone or something. Her arms move in large, sweeping gestures. Her hands twist. Her fingers splay open and closed. She almost looks like she's playing, like she's having a conversation with a child, or performing a ritual she only half remembers. Then, she walks down the hallway and disappears from the frame. The elevator doors, which had been frozen open this entire time, finally close. The elevator goes up. Elisa Lam is never seen alive again. When the footage went viral, millions of people watched it, and millions of people had theories. Was she high? Was she psychotic? Was she being chased? Was something supernatural happening in that hallway? Here's what the LAPD concluded initially. The footage was strange, but not criminal. They assumed she was having a mental episode. Elisa had a documented history of bipolar disorder. She had been prescribed multiple medications. But here's the problem. The official explanation doesn't explain everything. 19 days after Elisa disappeared, the body was found. Guests had been complaining for weeks. The water pressure on the upper floors was weak. The water that came out of the taps was dark. One guest said it tasted metallic. Another said the water in her shower was turning black. On February 19th, a maintenance worker climbed to the roof to inspect the 4 large water tanks that supplied the hotel. He opened the hatch on one of them. And there she was, Elisa Lam, floating, unclothed, her clothes folded nearby on top of the tank. The coroner's report listed her cause of death as accidental drowning. Her toxicology showed that her psychiatric medications were at low levels in her blood, consistent with someone who had recently missed doses, which could explain erratic behavior. Case closed according to the official record. But the questions, the real questions, are only just beginning. Let's talk about the things that don't add up. First, the water tank itself. The tanks are located on the roof of the Cecil Hotel. To access the roof, you need either a key or to bypass a locked door that triggers an alarm. Hotel management confirmed that no alarm was activated that night. So either someone let Elisa up there, or someone disabled the alarm, or she found another way up that no one has been able to replicate. Second, the tank hatch. The hatch on top of the water tank is heavy. It is designed to keep debris out. When the maintenance worker found Elisa, the hatch was closed. Think about that. Elisa would have had to climb into the tank, submerge herself, and then close a heavy lid above her head from the inside. Is it physically possible? Barely. With extreme effort in the dark while apparently in a mental health crisis? The coroner said yes. Many people, including former law enforcement, said the scenario strains credibility. Third, the elevator behavior. Investigators later said that the elevator doors may have been malfunctioning that night, held open by a glitch in the system, not by a human pressing a button. This would explain why the doors stayed open so long. But it doesn't explain who Elisa was talking to, and it doesn't explain her movements, the hiding, the gesturing, the way she kept watching the hallway like something was just out of frame. Fourth, and this is the detail that most people miss, the timestamp on the elevator footage released by police was altered. The LAPD confirmed this. They said it was done to protect the privacy of other guests who appeared in the footage before the relevant clip. But the edited footage made it impossible to know exactly what time the events occurred, or whether anyone else had been on that floor that night. Why does that matter? Because at least one other guest reported seeing a man follow Elisa into the elevator earlier that evening. That man was never identified. Over the years, 3 major theories have emerged. Theory 1. Elisa was in a severe manic or dissociative episode caused by her bipolar disorder, possibly worsened by missed medication. She wandered to the roof, climbed into the tank in a confused state, and drowned accidentally. The strange elevator behavior was a symptom of psychosis, not evidence of foul play. This is the official position. Theory 2. Someone else was involved. Whether a hotel employee, another guest, or an unknown person, someone either helped Elisa onto the roof or forced her there. The unidentified man in the elevator, the unopened alarm, the closed hatch. For people who hold this theory, there are too many physical impossibilities for the death to have been purely accidental. Theory 3, and this is the one that the internet will never let go of, is that something happened at the Cecil Hotel that cannot be explained by conventional means. The hotel's history, the bizarre ritual-like movements in the footage, the water that hotel guests consumed for nearly 3 weeks without knowing. Some people believe the Cecil Hotel is a place where something fundamentally wrong has taken root, and that Elisa Lam was simply the latest victim of something much older and much darker than any of us want to admit. I'm not going to tell you which theory to believe. I'm going to tell you what I know for certain. Elisa Lam was 21 years old. She was someone's daughter. She loved books and films and writing about her life online. She traveled alone because she was brave, and because she believed the world was worth seeing. She never made it to San Diego, and the full truth of what happened to her on the night of February 1st, 2013, in a hotel hallway that the camera almost captured, in a water tank on a roof that no one can fully explain, remains, to this day, Unresolved. If you want to see the elevator footage yourself, I've linked it in the description below. Watch it once, then watch it again. And ask yourself, what do you think she was looking at? Leave your theory in the comments. I read every single one. If this story kept you up tonight, subscribe. Every week, we go deeper into the cases that the world forgot, or never wanted to remember in the first place. I'm Unresolved, and we're just getting started.